Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to House is Fake. It's me, TJ, joined by Miggy with some.
HIPF
Yep,
pod.
yep,
That's us.
there we are. By the way, I didn't want to wear this beard hat. I'm so fucking tired, dude.
I feel that.
So tired.
I
I've
feel
had
that so
like
much.
4 cups of coffee. Look at my hair. This is ridiculous.
Uh, at least it's nice though. You got nice hair.
Oh, thanks. Oh, that's true.
You're
You don't have
welcome.
any.
I don't have any.
So, what we were talking about, or what I was talking about with this fresh meat, R-Truth. What?
Yeah.
It's not kayfabe.
No, he
I
really.
thought it was.
Yeah. No, he. It's looking like R-Truth is no longer going to be a WWE superstar. After he had this killer match with John Cena, had this killer match with stupid new name JC Mateo.
Terrible name.
Um, yeah, it's terrible. And then I don't know, man.
What
I
it's
don't know how I feel about it.
I'm kind of shocked because R-Truth is everything that the WWE has like ever been about. Like he's funny, he's a character who wrestles rather than a wrestler, you know what I mean? Like he's a sports entertainer
It
and a pretty good one.
it 100% has to come down to his age. I mean, if you look at it, right? How old off the top of your head? I mean, I know that you know a little bit about his age, but I don't know his full age. Like on the top of your head, how old do you think he is? Like if you were to like, let's say you were to never see this man before.
Mid 50s for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah, he's mid 50s.
And I mean,
Um,
if
but he
that's
looks
a
a lot younger,
factor,
in my
if
opinion. But
that's
I
a
definitely think it's
factor,
his age.
it I think about like when Kurt Angle and Mick Foley came back and they were the Raw GMs and or you just have there's a way that you could use him. I think especially in like the cinema era of WWE that doesn't necessarily mean he has to have matches.
I agree.
I mean, look at what he did with the 24/7 championship. It wasn't like he was putting on 30-minute bangers every week. Like just little tiny segments to yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is I'm kind of shocked.
I have a feeling they're gonna offer him like a Legends deal and be like, you can come back. You know, we'll have you come back randomly, like we do Ron Simmons to say, "Damn, you could come back and say some obscure stuff."
Say what's up.
Yeah.
Just come back,
Or would
say
they
what's
do
up
a
sometime.
Hornswoggle and have him do like a run in thinking he's in the
Wow.
match or something?
Do you think he knew? Like, should we have known? Was the whole main event with John Cena like kind of writing on the wall that we weren't even like privy to?
No, I don't think so because he has a history with John Cena. I mean, if you look back at it, right? Um, when he was with the Miz trying to take down WWE, um, I mean, and that's when he was smoking cigarettes on television and not, before all the limit, like in the midst of all the little Jimmy stuff before he was a full on comedy character. Um, I mean, he had some big matches with John Cena. The both of them did in that whole
It's true.
um the Awesome Truth era.
That's why I feel like I mean, that's a good way of like they do have the history, so putting them in a match together like makes sense, especially because like now he's like Truth's childhood hero and shit like
Yeah.
that. But usually when you get put in a match like he was, that's a sign that you're not going anywhere. And like what, a week later he's gone? That's that's I'm shook. I will say this: the first time I ever saw Ron Killings was not in WWE. It was in TNA
DNA.
after he had left WWE the first time. That was the first time I never saw him in WWF. Dude, he was Ron the Truth Killings. It's fucking. He was spinning around
Well,
doing
he
like
was
Tony Hawk moves.
before that. He was what? He was Chronic.
Oh yeah, with a K, right?
Yeah, and he was rapping in WWE, but I don't remember him as Chronic.
Wow. Well,
But that makes me
shout out
think,
to our
like,
truth.
I'm curious now because we just talked about all those releases, right? If you want to,
Yeah.
we just talked about all those releases, and they did they did get rid of, a lot of people, and they said that some of them was age, like, Shayna Baszler definitely had to do with age. And they talk about the ages of women and men, but if they're gonna start dropping, I mean, you look at this then. If you start looking at some of the older people on the roster, you have Rey
It's all
Mysterio.
of them.
Do you get rid of Rey Mysterio? Do you get rid of Randy Orton? I mean, Rey Mysterio was 52 also at this point. Randy Orton is nearing 50. Natalia's 45, 44.
But that's the thing. Natalia's out doing things that WWE wrestlers hardly ever get the privilege to do, and she's wrestling in different promotions under her WWE character.
Yeah, I mean, but
So she's
I
getting
mean,
opportunities.
he was just in the main event. I mean, the Miz is in his mid 40s. Kofi Kingston's mid 40s. Um, and they
Cody's
still
like
get
what? 39?
you.
Cody?
Yeah, but Shinsuke's 45.
Jeez.
Um, so it's like, Bailey is up there in like late 30s. Um, Charlotte Flair is 40s, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know if she's 40 yet.
And the thing I think that's going on here too, there's a couple. Yeah, she's about to turn 40, or she just turned 39. I don't know. She's older too. Um, I guess if we're considering that old, because you look at these people, right? You look at the TKO people. And what are they famous for? Like, what did they do before they bought just the WWE?
Well, it was a merger between UFC, WWE. So, are you going to talk about fighting?
Yeah, well, I am, because if you look at it, right, the oldest active competitor in MMA ever, according to what I just Googled, was Anderson Silva at 44 years old. So they have in their, like, part of me feels like they have in their mind that, once you get past a certain age, you're not going to be able to compete the same. But UFC and WWE are so different, and there's so much you could do with, these people that are higher in age, even if they are slower. Like you said, I mean, R-Truth is just, I mean, how many high
It's like he
profile
doesn't have
matches
to
has
wrestle.
R-Truth had in general? But
Right.
he's always getting a pop. And then at the end of the day, it's about the reaction. In UFC, it's about how good you fight. And WWE is about the reaction that you're going to get. So I
I
don't know.
couldn't tell you I couldn't make a list of my 10 favorite R-Truth matches because I don't know if I have
Yeah.
any favorite R-Truth matches. But I can tell you all the times he's made me laugh.
Yeah.
There's so many times where I'm sitting and I'm watching a match and I'm bored out of my fucking mind. I'm just waiting for it to end. But then R-Truth comes on and he's not a wrestler and it's like one of my favorite parts of the whole show.
Yeah. I think everything that he does is just so golden. And it's like, and that it scares me because you have this list of people, and I know we were going to talk about it eventually. I don't know if you want to talk about it today now or not, if you still want to stick to what we were talking about. But you have this list of up and coming people that are going to be on the main roster. They've already announced Stephanie Vecchio is going to Raw. They made room for Julia. They made room for Roxanne. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if Sol Ruka is coming up there soon, and that's just the women's roster. They made all
Yeah.
of these cuts. Um, and I have a feeling that means more cuts are going to come. And what is the qualifications going to be when you're looking at the WWE roster right now? Because if you go to the WWE roster, like, let's say we're just focusing on um just focusing on age alone, then that means you're getting rid of the Miz, you're getting rid of Randy Orton, you're getting rid of Rey Mysterio next, right? But then if we're focusing on who's being used, then that list completely changes, or who's, because who's drawing at that point? Like, you get rid of Akira Tozawa because he's not a main event guy.
Yeah.
Do you get rid of? I mean,
Just think of the tag team division, like on SmackDown when the Wyatt Six came back and all the tag teams were in the ring. Those guys aren't that young. Motor City Machine Guns,
no,
like they've they've been doing crazy shit for like 20 years at
yeah,
least. That's just how long I've been watching them.
yeah. They're TNA originals. They started it with our truth. I mean, but then you look at, like, okay, so somebody like Carlito, who's, he's only a background character now. Do you get rid of Carlito again? Do you get rid
That's why
of
this feels so weird. Like
somebody
I
who, these, if you weren't having this deal with AAA, would you keep the Garzas? Would you keep the tag team in Legado, whatever Phantasma? Damian Priest. Damian Priest is 45.
so here's
Um,
my
the Yes
here's
Boys. I mean, they're not even involved in this whole thing with the tag team division over there on SmackDown.
can I give you my best case scenario and something that I've kind of always wanted to happen in a situation like this? So you got Sean Ross Scott Stapp,
Yeah.
and Sports Illustrated. You got R Truth's tweet, and you got all these news outlets saying that it's real, it's not kayfabe. Dude, I want it to be a work so bad. I want them to be tricking the journalists and all that shit, and I want R Truth to pop up in NXT or TNA, or maybe he goes down to Mexico and like he's still signed with them, but he's not, because he's not on Raw and he's not on SmackDown, he's not signed with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost like, no, I don't work here anymore. And then he's like on one of the shows.
But even if
Because and the only reason I'm thinking that and like holding on to a sliver of hope is because like a lot of the older names or the people whose names you gave that are older, um like Tozawa, Shinsuke, they're a lot less relevant, but they're not getting released.
no.
So that's where I'm like, is it an age thing? Or is this some kind of work? I'm
Uh
hoping it's a work.
I'm hope so too, because that's, I mean, Omos is another one that, I mean, we haven't almost he just did an interview, and he hasn't been on WWE television in over a year and a half. He was on How Is This Fake Television, but not.
Yeah, he was.
And but
Didn't want
at
to
that
be.
same time, then no, he did not. At that same time, no, his friend didn't want him to be. To be fair, but at that same time, then I mean, if you're bringing in, it is kind of like a room thing too. Like, who do you bring up? How could you bring people up if you're not getting rid of people? If you're not sending them away. But I mean, I do honestly. What I would love to see happen is I would love to see WWE and TKO just straight out outright buy TNA too.
I think I would hate that if I'm being honest.
Why?
Because WWE, because the TKO thing was so cool at first, and it was cool at first because finally Vince was gone. And it was like
Yeah.
we could all breathe a little bit. We finally have the chance to like watch something different for the first time, literally ever in the WWE. And the mom and popness, I've talked about it before. It feels like it's wearing off. The WrestleMania could potentially be just in Vegas now. And it's like it's not there's a sense of uh I don't know. I'm not a big fan of change like this, I guess. And people used to get so excited about the details of WrestleMania. Like, is this the year they go to the UK? Is this the year they go to Canada? Which big stadium are they going to go to? And it's like, at this point, it just feels like a celebrity. It's very Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like going to college
Twice
football.
that
It's like,
twice that's the Super Bowl.
yeah, they're pricing out their fan base. Most of wrestling fans, and this is not like a shot, and maybe I could be totally wrong, but I mean the core of wrestling fans are people who generally do not have like a ton of money.
Yeah.
If you just look at the origins of wrestling and like where things are like, anyways, I don't want to get into that, but
Well, you're not
uh,
wrong though, because think of it
they're
this way.
pricing out their main people,
So I've
families.
lived I this year I have lived in Arizona, right? And I've said this on the show before. This year I've lived in Arizona for 20 years. Part of my thing when I moved to Arizona from Utah was that I was going to go to every single WWE show that I possibly could because WWE never came to Utah. And my dad, that was part of the deal to get me to stop complaining about moving to Arizona because I was barely a teenager coming out here. And I I have made it a point that the only show WWE related show, this is including NXT, this is including um pay-per-views, everything. I have missed only one episode of SmackDown. And that was because I was flying to Vegas to go to the Money in the Bank where Liv Morgan won. Um but I never missed an episode of Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-view, NXT, no matter what day of the week it was on, I was there. They come here on June 9th, right? They've been advertising this. That's when Gunther and Jey Uso are going to have their rematch, June 9th. This might be the very first time I don't go to a WWE show because I cannot justify paying. I'm waiting until the morning of June 9th to see what the tickets are like, but I cannot justify paying over $300 to sit in. I mean, and if you want to go back and look at our video that we posted of when Tiffany Stratton, I had a really, really good seats when Tiffany Stratton cashed in the Money in the Bank. And
Yeah.
how long ago was that? That was the beginning of this year. That was January of this year. And I spent $110 on those tickets, lower level, front row of the lower level. $110. Those same seats are $560.
That's fucking insane.
And upper level is $250. And I can't justify spending more than $100 on an upper level seat.
And how many, when we talk about like Raw or SmackDown or whatever, how often nowadays have we talked about how boring it is?
Yeah.
It's like there are a lot of times where like I'm such a, I think because I've watched so much wrestling, I get like picky and I get unentertained fast because I can like see what's coming, I think, in terms of like what's happening in the ring and is someone going to come, is the ref bump, is someone going to come interfere? So when it feels predictable to me and the storytelling feels boring and the physicality in the matches doesn't look super convincing, and now you're asking me to pay that much money, like no,
Yeah.
it's just a turnoff all the way around. Because then I got to pay for parking and beer and gas, and it's like, no, I don't want to do that.
And you got to think of it this way too. AEW was just here last weekend, sold out show. Those tickets I got, go check our seats out on the socials. The tickets that I got for that, $45 a piece. Okay. TNA is coming here on next Friday. Oh, this upcoming Friday. So 5 days from now, TNA will be here. They're here Saturday too. I bought tickets just for the Friday show because I got something going on Saturday. But I got tickets, same thing. There's only a lower level in this arena, and those tickets were $80. But that's okay. You could get tickets for Friday and Saturday's shows, like dual tickets for $150 for two shows.
I like that.
And then, but the diehard fans, right? The diehard fans like me are gonna want to go to every single wrestling show. But if we had just had AEW here, You're having TNA here for 2 nights and then skipping a day and then doing Monday Night Raw. Your diehard fans are going to be able to justify, okay, well, I just went to AEW, I just went to TNA, I don't need to go spend all this money for Raw, and then they're losing money at that point.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, I mean, yeah, Arizona has celebrities. You're going to have Vanessa Hudgens in the front row, but it's not like you're going to have all these high profile people, these Scottsdale snobs that are spending money and to go and sit and watch professional wrestling. You're going to have us freaks out here in Apache Junction that love this business, that love everything about this business and want to go to the show and cheer for these people and enjoy this thing that we grew up on. And part of growing up on it was the fact that we were able to just sit here and watch it, because it's not like we had money growing up to go and do other things. This is something for those of us middle class, lower class people. And that's not an offense to anything. That's just how I feel about it.
I get it.
And
That's the same thing I was saying.
and it's not like it's not like I have a lot of money to go out and spend $300 to go and do this.
But you know what I will say, since we're talking about pricing and like the money aspect of what they're asking fans to do, it is their right. And if they want to charge up the wazoo, fucking let them go ahead.
Yeah.
I just think it is a if that's what they want to do, and they no longer want to, if my business is not enough for them, then that just sucks for me as a fan, because it's like you give your whole, not your sounds so dramatic, but like your whole life, like you were saying, this is something we've loved since we were kids, and it feels like we've put so much time and money, and now we're not even welcome. Like we don't even have an invitation. And that, the timing of this is kind of perfect because dude, I know I didn't watch Double or Nothing, but I was catching up on the highlights and stuff, and I'm kind of excited about what AEW's got going on.
Well, and that's
And if the pendulum is starting to swing in my moody wrestling fandom.
and you look at it this way too, and it's not like we have a roster, like, because you're paying for your stars, and I get it, but it's not like you have a 2008 roster where you're going to see the top stars on every single episode.
But that
You're
that
not.
shouldn't even matter because they're making money hand over fist, and they tell you after every single pay-per-view how much more money they made than the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, joke's on you. We got you. We charged you 10 times over and you still showed up.
You guys gave us more money than
Yeah.
ever before. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Ugh.
We also charged you more than
Backlash.
we've ever charged before, but that's great. And I don't know. I can't justify that. I can't. I mean, yeah, AEW is, and it goes back to one of those things where it's like the people have said about AEW from the very beginning is that AEW is a show for the wrestling fans. And they prove that now more than ever.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Raw and the Truth Killings add some comedy aspects to AEW. I would love to see a shocking debut of an Adam Shear. And it's
Imagine
like,
him in a smaller like AEW ring, because WWE's ring is bigger than most. Imagine big ass Adam Shear just towering over it, doing his lap around that giant wide ass entrance ramp.
yeah, I would love to see. You know who I'd love to see? I'd love to see Shayna Baszler join the Death Riders.
Dude, that would be amazing. Her and Marina
But
Shafir just teaming up.
yeah,
You know what we should do? Actually, I can't do it because It's on my kid's birthday, so never mind. I was gonna say we should road trip to Texas.
Um,
If we could afford to go to WrestleMania, we could road trip to Texas.
I
But we
I would
can't
love to road trip to Texas.
because my spawn.
That's okay. There's always next year. Where is it in Texas? Is it in Dallas?
Arlington. So yeah, the area. It's where the Rangers play. The
Okay.
Texas Rangers. That was
Where
the
is
worst accent.
where is King of the Hill take place?
Is that in Texas?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Arland, Texas. That's it. I don't know. I've been on a big King of the Hill kick ever since they released the trailer for the new season where they're all old and grown up now.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Going back, I guess to the point is I understand why. I understand. Well, one, I mean, like you said, it's their discretion, but I understand the need to not have like cut costs and not have such like a large roster, but you're getting rid of people that are putting in the work. It's like it just goes to show you, you could work really really hard for our company. Like I get it. Like there's Adam Shear, Braun Strowman. I've heard things backstage. Like you mean he wasn't the greatest person backstage, things like that. But the dude put in work in the ring. R-Truth is putting in work in the ring. Cora Jade was putting in the work. Granted, I know that there was a whole bunch of stuff with her too backstage that it was problematic, but it's
I
showing
think
that what
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have
it's
cut you
just
off.
showing the rest of your company and the rest of your employees that no matter how much hard work you're going to put in for us, you are literally just a number.
Well, at this day and age, I think that goes beyond wrestling. I think that is a life lesson that we all need to, in today's world, start accepting that most you could work at the biggest wrestling company in the world, you could work at a warehouse. You're a number, bro.
Yeah.
I will say this though, in regards to like, because you mentioned Cora Jade, the last batch of releases that we got, there wasn't anyone in there who I was like shook by. You know what I mean? And it wasn't because I don't like them or anything like that. It was just if you're not on TV very much, if you're not involved in anything that's like getting people to want to buy your stuff or whatever, then it makes sense. Like you do what you got to do. Baseball teams do that, football teams do that. But R-Truth was not that. He just had a match with John Cena where he had his own Truth shirt that you could buy.
Yeah. Ron Zena.
That was amazing. And
Yeah.
it's crazy. Have they ever done that before?
No. And even I don't know if you caught SmackDown or not. But even his backstage segment
With
with
the
Jason
bloodline.
Mateo. Yeah. When he's like, "Oh, is this your son? Oh, your son
Yeah.
Husky. You Husky. Can I go and take your Husky son to the ring and teach him a lesson?"
Dude, Solo's trying not to laugh so hard.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, he just did all of the great stuff with the Miz. I mean, and it really, I mean, the Miz on the other hand has really positioned himself well. That he's so involved in branding the WWE that
He's an
I think,
ambassador.
yeah. But and same thing with Titus O'Neil. We saw
Yep.
Titus O'Neil for the first time on SmackDown this week, or maybe it was Raw. I don't know. Outside of when he, yeah, even outside. I mean, we saw him. I saw him at Wale Mania for like a quick second, but that was the first time I'd seen Titus O'Neil in years.
One thing that I miss that is from I don't know what 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago was when Stephanie was the chief brand officer because she's a great follow on Instagram. She used to post a lot more,
Yeah,
but she'd go speak at conferences and stuff, and then she'd do all the charity stuff. And there were always these like group of wrestlers who would show up at events, and they weren't necessarily the wrestlers that you would see on TV all the time, but they were people who you would be able to know the names of, and they're basically just uh like ambassadors for the company. And
Yeah.
I always liked seeing that side of when people were able to do that. If our truth, I don't think there could be anyone better than our truth to go do something like that. But I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know what he's got planned, or like I said, I don't know if this was a thing they saw coming, and that's why they gave him the big send off match with John Cena. I don't know, but I think more details will pop up for sure.
You know who I think is going to be next?
Tell me.
He's either gonna blow up here in the next couple weeks, or he's the next to leave. Karrion Cross,
Yeah.
because now we're going into Monday Night Raw, and the dude, he's the top selling T-shirt right now, or in the top three selling T-shirts in all of professional wrestling. And to not include this dude, I mean, the dude, if you're not gonna put him in Money in the Bank,
When's the
you're
last time
not
he had a
doing anything
match?
with him. What?
When's the last time he had a match?
I don't. Yeah, that's a good question. I remember we saw him with the AJ Styles stuff. So maybe if they want to elaborate on that and have him cost AJ Styles, but
It's
it's not
so
like then at that point you're either putting CM Punk in or Grande Americano's going in, but Chad Gable's already going into the Money in the Bank.
well, they could do that because El Grande Americano is not Chad Gable.
That's true.
So,
But I don't know, man.
dude,
I and well, and it makes me wonder too. At the same time, are they gonna? They just acquired AAA. Are they going to start bringing in some of these AAA guys over onto Raw and SmackDown? Are we going to see Vikingo with the AAA Championship showing up on a Raw and SmackDown? Are we going to see? Are they leaving room for? I don't know. Are they leaving room for TNA guys to start doing the main roster stuff?
you know what's
So
crazy
much could
is they
happen.
have enough firepower, they have enough money, they have enough people. They could literally do anything.
Yeah,
This company could do whatever they want, and that's what they're doing.
but I don't know. They
For the
still have
listeners
so
out
many
there,
people.
we were not supposed to talk about any of this,
No,
but I love this conversation that we're having. It was very natural. It was, this is what we do. Two guys who analyze pro wrestling, give you our thoughts, and
but
that's what
they
we do.
still have people like. That's the thing. They still have people like Braun or Brock Lesnar, because I'm looking at their uh what's it called? Brock Lesnar and Omos are the two listed free agents on their um
The website, the roster
website, but
page.
they still have people. I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised they don't have like I can't. Oh, Trish Stratus is probably in the Hall of Fame section. That's what it is. Trish Stratus meeting her yesterday was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, why don't we close with you just telling us a little bit about that? We got about 5 minutes left.
Um,
First of all, I need to get this out of the way before, in case you say something. So I showed the picture to Morgan and her best friend who's visiting. They think that it is perfectly positioned to be baby barf.
um, I I don't know. I mean, maybe. Okay, so for listeners, there was a guy wearing a shirt at the event yesterday with a really questionable stain on the shirt.
Back
Um,
shoulder.
back, yeah, and thought it could have been something. I I don't know. It was pretty awkward. A lot of people were noticing this stain and what it looked like. Um, very well could have been baby puke, but at the same time, uh, there was no babies there.
It could have been jizz. That's what Peter's trying to avoid saying.
Yeah,
It could
and
have been that.
yeah. So I don't know. It was awkward. The wrestlers that were there noticed it too. But hey, I hope that's what it was. Trish Stratus was really cool. Told her to go check out Amici Pizza where Lexi and I went for lunch yesterday. It was pretty good. She brought Lita over to come and talk to us about Lexi's hair and about Amici Pizza. We kind of held up the line a little bit, which is why, one, I love taking my wife places, especially when it comes to wrestling too. But it also makes it look like I'm not like a creepy man trying to take a picture with wrestlers at my 30s if I have my wife
Right.
there too.
Right.
Because now I got this one gray hair, and it's starting to get to the point where I'm going to be an age where it's going to be awkward without a kid going to meet wrestlers. I probably got a good 4 years left, and then I have to cut it off without like, having a kid with me. Um, Good news is that Lane will be old enough at that point. I could just hop on with you guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll just
Um,
look like two dads with.
yeah, exactly. But meeting Trish Stratus was super cool. I didn't jump in the line for Sting because we just met Sting. I didn't jump in the line for Lita because we just met Lita too. But I wanted to go meet Trish, my first crush ever, and really cool experience. We almost even got tattoos. We at this thing, it was a collectible show, and they had tattoos that people were doing there. If the one guy didn't sign up right before we walked over there, I would have gotten a tattoo yesterday. Um, the tattoo I would have gotten in WWE World, I would have gotten there probably. But yeah, cool experience.
All right. Well,
We
before
got
we
we
sign
got some
off,
more wrestlers meet and greets coming at the end of the month, so be on the lookout for that.
ooh,
Ahmed
ooh.
Johnson.
Oh, fuck, that's this month because it's June, huh?
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right. Well, so before we go, everyone, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, follow us on Instagram at HITFP. Oh, and TikTok at HITFPOD. Oh, and by the way, a lot of people tell wrestling fans to wear deodorant and shit like that. At the very least, don't walk around with your jizz stained shirts by yourself to go meet your female crushes. You make us all look
Uh,
bad.
I think that just should be a rule of thought for all of living your
If
life.
if you look, we're guys, okay? I'm not shaming anybody. But if that happens to a piece of clothing of yours, just either it's a pajama shirt or you throw it in the trash.
Yep, that's fair. That is fair.
You need to go eat breakfast, bro. All
All right, buddy.
right, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode. Take it easy.
Later.